Get out of here. All that dumb shit. Oh yeah, let's get cracking. Let's get cracking. Super duper, super duper high. Oh, that's the first fight. DC interview at what time to go?
This is a real dope. The blessing for me in so many ways as a young athlete was I was never like the kid that was like, hey, that's the one that's going to make it to the NFL.
How do you make sure that you're ready for it and take advantage of it?
All these players in the NFL, they want it easy Monday through Saturday. And then Sunday gets really hard. Good programs in the NFL, it's really hard Monday through Saturday. And I ended up going to Michigan and I started as the 7th quarterback. Because I loved it, I never minded working hard. I liked hard. So the harder that shit got, the more I liked it. It's really painful to lose a Super Bowl. And I lost 3 of them. And those are the 3 hardest losses of my life. And I think I'm proud of the fact that even though we lost some that were very important, we always found ways to come back. And what was our process for that? And then how can we improve it so if we put ourselves back in that situation, we can succeed?
Pickett stayed in Dallas.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the beautiful Fontainebleau Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada for Champion Mindset with Daniel Cormier.
Yo,
and
yo,
UFC
yo, what's up with y'all,
original
gang?
production.
Watching
Today,
DC
we
interview
are
Tom
joined by
Brady.
the greatest football player of all time, Tom Brady.
Yeah, great
He
to be
is the
with
greatest
you, and I
football
appreciate
player
the
out there.
introduction. And even, when people always say the greatest of all time, and, you hear that now all the time, basically. And I just think for me, it was always, how do I give my very best every day? And it's like, I'm sure for you, you probably didn't think about,
No.
you just thought about, hey, how can I win this day? And then what it becomes, you look back over a period of time, you're like, damn, you know what? I did all right for
pretty
myself.
good. Yeah.
I did all right. Like, I didn't leave a lot, left in the tank. So I think that's probably the best way to approach
But
it.
even the greatest of all time conversation, for so many, even Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
now they're saying, well, LeBron James might be better.
Yeah.
We don't get that with you. It's
Yeah.
almost universal. And that's where you differentiate. That's where you're different than other people. Because I don't hear anyone going, well, they're better than Tom Brady. So all the work that you
Nobody's
did
better than Tom
ultimately
Brady.
showed itself in your career, and obviously you won all those
Ever.
Super Bowls. But it didn't start like that.
Yeah.
So Juniper Serra.
Yeah.
So we wrestled them. I coached
Really?
in high school in Gilroy.
No way.
And we wrestled Sarah.
No way. We had a pretty good wrestling program back then, too.
Good wrestling program then. They're
Yeah.
still very good right
Yeah.
now. You're in high school,
Yeah.
and you're not starting for a long time.
Yeah.
How do you stay the course whenever success isn't showing itself?
I think we all had a unique journey to get to where we're at. And I think, and I've been around thousands of football players, just teammates and people that you see come from all parts of the country.
Yeah.
And they have all different, some are 5-star recruits, some are barely recruited. Some get to the NFL as undrafted free agents, some are first-round picks. And the blessing for me in so many ways as a young athlete was I was never like the kid that was like, hey, that's the one that's going to make it to the NFL.
Yeah.
I was always the one that they were like, yeah, he's talented, but, maybe he can go to a Division II school.
Yeah.
And I had like a I would say I was a late bloomer,
Mhm.
pretty much as an athlete, and I think all the kids were physically always a bit better than I was. And I was just young. I didn't really mature into my body. Like I didn't start shaving until I was like a senior in high school.
Really?
Yeah, I was just like always kind of behind physically. And because I was behind physically, it and I always had a work ethic, but it really made me work hard. Like I just remember in fourth grade and fifth grade, my sisters, I had three older sisters, and my cousin Sean.
Yeah, Sean.
We all grew up in
Where
the
did
Bay
Sean
Area.
go to school? I want
Sean went to Aragon High School, which was
Okay.
right down the street from Sarah. But he was our first cousin. I mean,
Yeah.
we spent every holiday together, and
Sean
we had a very
O'Malley?
athletic family. I had three older sisters.
No,
that were
hold
great
on.
athletes.
Am I tripping?
Softball, basketball,
Sean O'Malley
soccer.
is
They all played
Tom
college.
Brady's cousin?
And
Nah.
the baby. So I was kind of
Hell
caught
no.
on because I was the baby.
Yeah.
I was
What?
caught up by my dad because I was the only boy, and I was caught up by three sisters. So I was not the toughest kid.
Yeah.
I was kind of like everything was always like, oh, don't worry, you'll figure it out. But I always loved playing, and I love sports and I love competing. But
Hell
all the
no.
boys in the neighborhood were always better than I was. And then as I got through elementary school and into high school,
What?
when I remember
What's
going to
good?
high
What's
school,
good?
like,
Tom
looking at
Brady and
these kids
Sean
in the freshman
O'Malley
year,
are
they're
related.
shaving,
That's
they're putting all
crazy.
their pads on, and I never even tried out for football till my freshman year. And like these kids were putting on pads, and I was looking at them like, "How do you put this on? Like, you put pads?" And so you go out there early in my freshman year, and I was like, "All right, I'm going to play football," because the Niners were so good.
Yeah.
So naturally, I was like, "Oh man, I kind of fell in love with football because the Niners were great." But I went to a baseball school. Barry Bonds went to my high school, who I think is the greatest baseball
Yes.
player ever.
And that should not be questioned.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he came back to the Bay Area to play for the Giants when I was a freshman in high school. So it was like this crazy baseball school I was at. And then I was like, but I kind of like football. Let me try out. So I try out for the freshman team, and I make the team because everybody makes teams of freshmen. There's three teams. There's a freshman team, a JV team, and a varsity team. And I make the freshman team because everyone makes it, but I'm the backup quarterback on the freshman team. So I never play that whole year. We never win a game, but they barely put me in ever. And then my second year, the guy who started was like, fuck this, I'm not playing, football anymore. I'm gonna
Yeah.
just play basketball. So I tried out for junior varsity, and I made the junior varsity team, was starting quarterback. And we kind of fell in love with the sport again because the coaches made it fun, and they knew we didn't win a game as freshmen. So then I'm going into my third year, and I'm like, all right, I kind of really love football now. My dad was like, wow, you're kind of really into this. Let's go get some, there's a throwing coach up at the college, San Mateo. You should go, let's go try to throw the ball better. And I
Yeah,
really
that
got into
is
it.
shocking to me.
This work ethic that I had, that I would always say like was pretty natural. And I don't think a lot of people think his work ethic is like innate.
Yeah.
But like some people are tall, and some
Yep.
people are fast, and some people are strong. But I do believe there's an innate part about a work ethic too, that I was very blessed that I didn't mind going to work out and didn't mind training and all those things that maybe other kids, had that I didn't have, like the speed and the jumping ability. What I had a work ethic and I had discipline, and you can't really see those things.
Yeah.
So I played decent my third year in high school, and then I try out for varsity and I make the varsity team, and I'm pretty good. I get better. I'm not great, but I kind of get lightly recruited to Michigan.
But how
I
do you
know.
go? How did you end up at Michigan?
I
This is
know.
a big school.
Big school, and I saw like this is the gamut of colleges that were looking at me. Like the College of San Mateo was looking at me.
Yeah.
It's the city college, it's like a junior JC college in San Mateo. There were teams like Army that were like, and then no one knows Army, and then BYU. Okay, that was a little bit of Fresno State. It's
Yeah.
like, at the time, like not the greatest school, but yeah, they could throw the ball
Considered
pretty
it.
good. Yeah, but then like Illinois in the Big Ten, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then finally, like Michigan came out of nowhere. And fortunately, they kind of ran an offense that required a bigger, taller quarterback that could throw the ball and process information, which is kind of what my skill set was.
Mhm.
So after my third year, and again, the era, our era was very different. There
Yeah.
wasn't the digital era where everyone sees your highlights and
Yes.
everyone knows who everybody is all the time.
You're shipping tapes.
That's all
You're
that's what we
sending
did.
tapes.
Yeah, so I went with my dad because my dad was like, he always facilitated, like, my parents never put pressure on me. There was always kind of pressure within myself, but they always were like, whatever I wanted to do, they were like, yeah, let's go for it. Like, I want to go to the Stanford football camp, Dad. All right, let's get you there. Dad, I had a fun time. Should we go to the University of Arizona football camp? Yeah, let's go down there together. And we
Yeah.
made it like a father-son
It's a
trip.
trip.
So it was like, My dad was always there. When I was a baseball player in high school and I wasn't hitting the ball good, my dad was like, "Come on, let's go to the batting cage at night." You know, like screw English. Let's go to the batting cage.
He put the time he needed.
Yeah, and he was just there.
Yeah.
You know, and I think like if you think of how long the odds there are for kids to become a professional athlete, it's impossible. But I think the blessing for my parents at least, they never said like, "Hey, you know, we should think about something different." You know, they were kind of all in too. And like I always try to encourage parents, like, and I even say with my own kids, like, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna become.
Yeah.
But like I'm never gonna tell them no that they can't.
They can't.
They can't do anything. Like they can if they work hard enough, they put their mind to it, they can. But just because that was my journey, and like I said, I probably wasn't the top recruit out of the Bay Area. I was one of, I don't know, 7, 10 guys on the West Coast that was kind of recruited. And then Michigan ended up offering me a scholarship as I went on a visit, and they kind of liked my size and what I could do. And I'm sure they weren't too sure about what I could accomplish. But then I ended up going to Michigan, and I started as the 7th quarterback on the depth chart. And again, I think the thing that was really different for me was, and it really carried me through my entire career, was my work ethic, my curiosity to learn from people that were better than me. I never let off like I didn't know everything, you know. I still don't. I don't know shit. I don't know most about anything.
Yeah.
I know what I know and basically what I've studied, but a lot of people have come into my life over the years that have been like, hey, like, I see you're kind of lacking that. Let me try to help you in some way. Either it was physically, mentally, or emotionally.
Yeah.
And I needed all that growth in different areas. And I look at it, so many athletes are only valued on their physicality. Like when the NFL draft comes around every year, it's like, man, this guy's 6'4", 215 pounds, and he runs a 4.3. And I'm like, yeah, but does he work hard? Is he obsessed?
And does he know how to play football?
Yeah, can he do that?
I never understood
Yeah.
how you go through the process now in the draft, and they're talking about all these numbers and ignoring essentially the things that are on the field
Yeah.
at times. When at times, if you don't see what's on the field, you may end up passing on the greatest player of all time.
Yeah,
Right? I mean, Marcus Colston was
Yeah.
one of the last guys picked.
he was unbelievable.
And look at how good he was
Yeah.
because he didn't run as fast.
I know.
Right? So it's like some of those things people don't see to the blind eye. And a lot of that with kids is when the older kid, right,
Yeah.
develops faster,
Always.
the coaches are drawn to them.
Totally.
But when you go to Michigan, it's a deep bench.
Yeah.
It's a deep bench.
players, really
good
good players.
players, but you stay the course. That's like a thing that you have, right? Regardless of the obstacle,
Yeah.
you stay the course. I kind of really went through that. Like I quarterback sneak.
No.
Oh, hey, you just dive. And then
Oh my
when
God.
he gets in front of you, you dive because you don't want to be chasing him
I
when he
know.
opens it up to 30
Oh,
yards
no.
when he scores the end zone. So yeah,
Totally.
he was just amazing. But
Yeah.
you stay the course.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You going into your last year and
Yeah.
you're still competing for a spot.
Totally.
There's got to be some pride in that, though.
Yeah.
Knowing that you went out and earned that position.
Yeah, and I think like when I look back at high school, it's like didn't start as a freshman, had to work really hard to even make the team my second year. Okay, became the starter. Then I tried out for varsity, had to work really hard to be the starter on varsity.
Tom
Had to work
Brady.
really hard my fourth year to
and
get
Sean
recruited,
O'Malley
make it to
are-
Michigan. I
what?
was 7th on the depth chart, but because I loved it, I never
This shit
minded
is crazy
working
to me.
hard. I never minded like working on my throwing mechanics, working on my drops, going in the weight room and trying to be a little bit stronger, be a little more sturdy in the pocket, eating a little bit better as time went on. And then it's like, okay, at Michigan, you go from 7th to now going to my second year, and I'm kind of like, maybe this Michigan is too much for me, you know? And I questioned myself for a little bit because I was like, I'm like 3rd or 4th on the depth chart. The guy who's the starter is only 1 year ahead of me, so maybe I'll never play here if he plays good because the coaches seem to love him. And there was a sports psychologist that came into my life. His name was Greg Harden. Greg unfortunately passed away. And he was a mentor for me, but a lot of other great athletes at Michigan, Michael Phelps and Desmond Howard. And he would always call it like self-defeating attitudes and behaviors, and that we all have them, and we all have the poor me, I'm not getting my chance, let me blame someone else.
Yep.
And it was like, he was like, I'm tired of that shit. Like, fucking knock that off. Like, you ain't dealing with that anymore. Like, you're gonna come in here, I'm gonna start working with you, we're gonna change your fucking attitude.
That inner bitch, you gotta
That
kick
inner
her in the
bitch
ass.
all the
You
time.
gotta kick, because we all have it. Everyone, that inner bitch, hey, I'm here. You gotta put your foot in his ass and get him out of there.
Yeah, always. And it was like, it always creeps into your mind, especially when let's say you're a California kid and you're kind of babied by everybody. Then you go to the Midwest and it's cold, but before the cell phones, like you couldn't just pick up the cell phone and call your parents. And they were a long way. You're out there on your own. You need to grow up. You need to start assuming responsibility for life. And then if you don't have a lot of champions for you, then you better become a champion for yourself, and you better like try to develop confidence within yourself so that you can grow up and be the kind of person or player or student or whatever you want to be. You don't have to be an athlete. You got to do what you want in your life. You wanted to be a great wrestler. You wanted to be a great MMA champion. Like, that's up to you. Like, now you had a lot of people to support you, but that had to be like, when you wake up in the morning, like you're probably thinking about, submissions. You're probably thinking about like, all right, if I fight that guy, this is how I'm gonna handle it. For me, I was brushing my teeth in the morning, thinking about my throwing mechanics.
Yeah.
I'm like looking in the mirror, like, okay, if I want to, look this guy up, this is what I'm gonna do. And there was like just a great, I call it like a metamorphosis, in a good way. You got to change over time, and you're constantly changing as a result of the experiences that kind of come in front of you. And I'm very blessed that things didn't go my way for my high school career. They weren't easy. In my college career, I almost think about leaving my sophomore year. My junior year, my third year, I'm the backup and we win the national championship. Then I go into my fourth year and I'm competing my ass off with a true freshman. And I'm like, how am I competing? I'm thought I was better. I probably wasn't that much better, but maybe a little bit. And maybe I should thought I was better than I was, but it's not like I had some great year in my fourth year. And going into my last year, they named me team captain. But I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be a pro quarterback. But of course, no one else probably thought that. And I had a pretty good senior year. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to get drafted in like the second or third round. And I get drafted in the sixth round. But those were all great things for me. Because when we look back, I'm like, had I been a top recruit, had I been a top draft pick, I don't know, would my work ethic be the same? Would I think, well, I don't know, maybe I'm better than these guys. Maybe I could skip that day. Or because you know what? I've seen so many guys do that at this point. All the guys,
all the best ones.
I know, it's like the guys that usually have the most talent never had to develop the work ethic. And they never had to really deal with adversity. Like, and I look at the pro level now I'm 48, and I'm playing football, and I'm part of the team. And I want to see what guys are made of when it doesn't go their way. Like, fuck when it goes well, and everyone's patting you on the back, or you get a contract, or you make all the money that you want. Or it's like, how about when you throw 3 interceptions in a game? I want to hear what you say to the media after that.
Yes.
Because that's going to tell me about who you are. Are you going to say, what was this guy's fault, or that guy was a play caller, or be passive aggressive? Or are you going to take ownership and say, you know what, like, it was my fault. I messed up. And I'm going to make sure that I don't do that again. And I'm going to show you guys, my teammates, my coaches, that through my work ethic and my attitude, that I'm actually going to put my actions behind my words. And when I've had teammates that do that, that's when we've had the best teams.
Yeah.
Like, you're my receiver and I'm the quarterback, and we fuck up a ball. And the first thing I say is, hey, my fault, man. I'll make a better throw. And then if you say, no, I got to run a better route. Then I know you got chemistry.
Yeah, we're locked in.
But if I'm like,
this
guy can't, and you're going, this guy can't throw.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time. And you're just like, okay, it's never going to work. It might work for a little bit, but in terms of the real competition, I know I don't have to worry about those guys. I got to worry about the guys that are always looking at themselves going, how can I be better? How can I be a better teammate? How can I show up with a better attitude? How can I put the team first more often? How can I work harder? Like, how can I help my receivers be better? How can I make the line be better? How can I make the coaches be better? Which means you have to be selfless.
Yep.
And how can you be a selfish person in a team sport?
Yeah.
You know why we can be that? Because in today's world, we're so encouraged to be so selfish on team sports.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the one thing as an older player that I was, and then I became that, like I said, now I'm an older figure in the sport. Like, I want to see a team sport be a team sport.
Yeah.
Like, that's the beauty of team sports.
You know, I went to AKA to train. I walked in as an Olympian and a heavyweight, and Cain Velasquez was heavyweight champion at the time. And he never saw me as a potential opponent down the line. And because of that, when it was time, when I had worked myself up to number 2 in the world, I said, I'm going to go to 205. Because he set the standard for what a teammate should be. And so I felt like I needed to go down to avoid that ability. I didn't want to fight him as the guy that was on the verge of a title fight. And he uplifted me. Yeah. And a lot of times a leader can do that for someone, and it really does elevate them. But when you go to the NFL draft, there's 6 quarterbacks picked before you.
Yeah.
You know, I once said after I won the heavyweight title, I said, tonight was a culmination of my career, and it showed me what I could have been as a heavyweight. I've been second a lot of times. I was second in the NCAA tournament. I was 4th at the Olympics. John Jones beat me. But I never, ever doubted that at some point I would hold that belt and I would be the king of the world. Same thing. Never, ever doubted, regardless of how it happened. Drew Bledsoe gets hurt. Okay. You got us as a big underdog? Okay. I'm going to show you. Just like I've shown you time and time again. The hard work is there. The mentality's there. The smarts are obviously there. But when you're in all of these moments, when that big opportunity does show itself, how do you make sure that you're ready for it and you take advantage of it?
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of the opportunities.
These some good ass questions too.
My friend always says, like, a lot of people missed opportunities because they're dressed in overalls and it looks like work.
Yeah.
And the reality is like, when I stepped onto the field as a professional after 9/11, and I got a chance to go lead a team, that's not when.
Ballot. Sean Shelby.
Yeah. Like, I turned
Sean
the switch
Shelby.
on
I was finna say,
as a
what?
freshman in high school, preparing for an opportunity. And then I got it in that moment. And all along the way, like when I got to Michigan, there was a great saying that our practice facility was on this street called State Street. And then there was stadium was like about a mile up the road. And it was always like, you better learn to be a State Street quarterback before you become a big house quarterback.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's never about that moment. It's about what led you to that moment. And through my work with Greg Harden, the sports psychologist, he would say, when you go out on the practice field and you run a 2-minute drill and they put you in there in practice, you treat that fucking drill like it's a game-winning drive against Ohio State. Like, I don't want to hear this, it's only practice. I don't want to hear it's like, didn't matter because nobody was watching. It needs to matter as much to you on that practice field as it does when you do it on the game field. And it was a eye-opening experience for me. And again, I had these different mentors and I had other quarterbacks in the room that treated the same way because that was the culture of that position at Michigan. And I was so lucky. I chose Michigan.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that's what the foundation of that program was built on. Bo Schembechler used to say, the team, the team, the team. And I was like, I'm all about the team. And then I'm around these quarterbacks that are like with Elvis Gerbach, who's a great pro quarterback, and Todd Collins and Jim Harbaugh. There was a great history of quarterbacks. So we were all trying to live up to the standard that those guys set. So when I came into that quarterback room, I felt like, all right, I gotta be the guy that they were. So I gotta do the same things that they were taught. So I became that State Street quarterback. In my work with Greg Harden, I went out there on practice days and treated them like game days. And when they put me in for a 2-minute drill, even if I was third on the depth chart or second on the depth chart, if we scored, I celebrated like it was like we beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
So all my teammates are kind of looking around like, man, it's fucking serious.
Yeah.
Like it's a big moment. Like Wednesday in October for me was a big day. And then, so that when it became the big moment, I already been in the big moment.
So
I've been in a moment a lot. And it's like, you try to there's a big problem in the NFL. It's like, you play the game on Sunday, but all these players in the NFL, they want it easy Monday through Saturday. And then Sunday gets really hard.
Yeah.
And the program that I was involved in for 20 years, and the good programs in the NFL, it's really hard Monday through Saturday. And then Sunday, it's fun, and it's not easy, but it's fun and enjoyable, but you're prepared for the test.
Yeah.
But most people, we don't want to be pushed. I would say most people don't want to be pushed that hard.
Yeah.
They want to be pushed to their level of comfort.
Yep.
And once they're outside their comfort zone, they're like, oh, I'm not used to this. Oh, I don't like this. My heart's beating too fast. Or, man, I'm feeling different feelings and emotions. And it's like, that's where the growth lives. You need coaches that push you outside your comfort zone, because that's how you grow, and that's how you begin to develop self-confidence and self-esteem in what you're doing.
Yeah.
You try, you fail. They push you to deal with the failure. You get another chance to go out and practice it. Then you succeed and you realize, oh, that's what I need to do differently the next time. As opposed to the athletes who try something that's hard, they fail, and now it discourages them from trying the same thing that's hard again.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of teammates like that. Like, there's guys that are on the practice squad in the NFL. So there's 53, and I learned this, again, over a period of years, but there's 53 guys on the active roster. And there's now 15 guys on the practice squad. So there's 68 players. But those practice squad players are important, because if anybody on the active roster gets hurt, they can get elevated to the squad. Well, there was times where these 15 guys would do really well in practice. And they'd be practicing, and you'd be like a scout team receiver. And I saw this happen a lot. These scout team receivers would come in and practice with, the scout team. And they'd do really well. And I'd be watching. I'm like, man, we got to get that guy. Like, let's get him up on offense. He's making a lot of plays. That's Darrelle Revis. He's getting open. I'm like, we got to do something. Then all of a sudden, we're like, hey, man, you're doing really well. You got to come over here and deal with the pressure of succeeding now that you have expectation. And these guys are like, they weren't prepared for it. So whatever we saw in practice against where there was not a lot of pressure, now when they're put in a situation where there's an expectation for performance, they've never had to personally deal with that, and then they fail. And then what I realized was, a lot of guys in those practice squads, they don't want to be elevated to the roster. They're very happy living this life where they could tell their family and friends, which I have no problem with that. Like, there's no problem. Like, you would just assume, though, that if you're on the practice squad, you'd want to be at the top. But the reality is, a lot of guys don't want the pressure of being on top. And even I would say, like, getting to the playoffs and winning a Super Bowl, there's another level of scrutiny when you lose a Super Bowl. It's really painful to lose a Super Bowl. And I lost 3 of them. And those are the 3 hardest losses of my life. But you can't win the Super Bowl unless you're in the Super Bowl. But if you're in the Super Bowl, you have a chance to lose the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's like, do those defeats crush you? And do they feel like there's such a burden that you can't overcome them? And I think I'm proud of the fact that even though we lost some that were very important, we always found ways to come back and, like, look at, okay, what was our process for that? And then how can we improve it? So if we put ourselves back in that situation, we can succeed.
Yeah, you can't win if you're not in the game.
Yeah.
You can't win. Big news, UFC and sports fans.